He has beautiful, mesmerizing eyes, and his ability to petrify someone with just a glance once gave Child a headache, but today he heard the sound of steel. His proud superpower had no effect on the man in front of him, who was the trendsetter behind the Hydra organization. The man never expected that just by touching the square stele in front of him, his arm would start to, inexplicably, within seconds, a vibrant life was lost, just like that. This square stele is a mystery discovered by the Germans during World War II, and it is said to hold the key to human immortality, a secret that needs to be unraveled. I wonder how many people were killed. Everyone who has come into contact with the Fangjian monument has been transformed, without a single case. The appearance of a Chinese woman made the Fangjian monument react. However, when the other party saw the broken pieces on the ground, they were frightened and turned around to leave. But how could the frantic Dr. White let him go? They forced the woman's head down to prevent her from making contact with the tombstone. Choir. Surprisingly, the woman not only did not speak after the contact, but also had a reaction. Soul Shoulder Dream 10's experiment finally had a clue, in order to check the woman's special features. The doctor decided to take her back, to study the possibility that she might leave it. As soon as Agent Card was about to leave, he took the Mongolian army with him. Obviously, their purpose was also to capture the market cup. Since the nine-headed snake had no defense, Carter quickly controlled the person. Although Dr. White was unwilling to see the weapon in the other party's hand, he could only obediently accept it. The monument was also marked with O84 by Carter. Not long after the drugs were packed up and taken away, Dr. White was sentenced to life imprisonment. He had spent more than 40 years here without realizing it. He thought he would die of old age in this dark cell, but he never expected that one day, two Child men would let him go. Hydra. It turns out that all of this was orchestrated by Hydra behind the scenes. After his release, the agents took Dr. White to a research facility, and Hydra had also found that Chinese woman from 40 years ago. Surprisingly, after all these years, she still looked as young as ever, while the doctor had turned into a frail old man with white hair. This clearly exceeded human understanding. To investigate the woman's connection to the square stele, Dr. White began secret experiments on her. However, after several years, he still couldn't uncover the mystery. As he faced his own mortality, Dr. White directly transferred all of the woman's organs into his own body, thus achieving his long-desired immortality. After the woman was blown to pieces, her body was eventually found by her boyfriend. Looking at his brutally mutilated girlfriend, the man silently vowed to make those responsible pay for their actions. Fast forward 3 years, and Hydra still hadn't given up on the square stele. However, due to its deep concealment, they had little information, until Agent Carter's death forced the military to relocate the square stele. But this news was quickly obtained by Hydra. An enhanced individual intervened halfway. The violent impact caused both people in the car to lose their lives instantly, leaving one survivor who could die. The man wanted to take the square stele that had fallen to the ground, but upon seeing the petrified arm on it, he was taken aback. His face turned pale, and although his body structure was unusual, he had to be cautious in the face of the terrifying power of the monolith. So, he used his superpowers to assimilate his arm with the banana material of a tire. Even so, he still couldn't underestimate the monolith. When he got home, he noticed something was off. No matter what material he transformed his body into, one part of his arm was out of his control. It was then that he realized the seriousness of the situation. The next day, Cree met with the street people in the central square. But little did he know that Child had already set their sights on them. Without saying a word, the man directly aimed his Barrett at them. It's really twisted. He couldn't even tell the difference between a man and a fake bullet. Knowing he wasn't a match for Cree, he quickly turned and left with his weapon in hand. At that moment, the square was in chaos. The street people intended to take the monolith lying on the ground, but to their surprise, it had vanished without a trace. The one who took it was none other than that Chinese woman, whose goal was to collaborate with Whitehall, because her daughter was being held by Child. As the saying goes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Jack not only handed the monolith over to the doctor, but also revealed its entire backstory. It turns out that the monolith is a key left on Earth by the Kree thousands of years ago, a key that grants access to the Kree temple. Only those chosen by the monolith are qualified to enter, and it also allows the chosen ones to evolve into superpowered individuals. The Kree's purpose in doing this was to select warriors for themselves. Seeing Jack's sincerity, they immediately agreed to collaborate. Soon after, with Jack's help, Hydra quickly mastered the power of the monolith, and even turned it into a deadly weapon, significantly boosting their strength in an instant. In order to eliminate their arch-enemy, Child, Hydra disguised themselves as SHIELD agents and broke in. The meeting has begun, and it's a bloodbath. Shield is done hiding. Shield is done hiding. Hide. What? In this way, Shield became a place of heavy attack. Not only were they hit hard by the military, but even the top leaders of the parliament chose to stand on the side of the military. But Shield in the ground for good. Faced with immense pressure, Director Coulson not only ignored everything, but also worked day and night, carving a bunch of unknown runes on the wall. It turned out that Coulson had previously injected Kree blood serum, which is why he was uncontrollably trying to etch the runes from his mind. These runes were actually a map to enter the Kree temple. However, another agent, who had also injected the Kree serum, quickly spotted the flaws in it. As a result, SHIELD integrated all the runes, and after extensive research, they quickly pinpointed the entrance to the Kree temple. To uncover its mysteries, Coulson immediately took the agents to the destination, and even opened it. Agent Mac was the first to enter the temple using a rope. As he came down, he saw mysterious inscriptions on the ground. Curious, he reached out to touch them, but at the moment he made contact, the runes emitted a bright blue light. Immediately, a burning sensation spread through his palm, and he looked down to see the same runes appearing on his hand. Hearing about Mac's preferences, everyone immediately pulled up the ropes, but what they didn't know was that Mac had already undergone a huge transformation. I found nothing. He immediately launched an attack on Brother Black, but it didn't cause him any harm at all. Even the bullets couldn't penetrate his leather suit. It was clear that he had lost his mind and was now engaging in a sneak attack with the agent's electric baton. He had an accident while working. When he reappeared, he had been mysteriously transported to an unknown week. Fortunately, the oxygen and temperature here are not too different from Earth, but he understands that if no one comes to rescue him, he will surely die here. Days have passed, and all he faces is endless despair. At this time, Simon's boyfriend, Phi, has also been studying this giant stone for many years, due to the agency's interest, but he still can't unravel its mysteries, not even its transformation patterns. However, Phi didn't just sit back, he used all his connections to find a way to activate the stone. After several days of effort, Phi finally obtained the activation key for the mysterious stone from a gang in Chicago. He immediately approached the gang leader with sincerity. Big Deal saw that the other party took out what he wanted and handed the box he brought to the other party, but he did not expect that this was a deadly weapon that could instantly petrify people. However, Boss Hay not only refused to give it to him, but also wanted to kill people and silence him. In order to test the power of this weapon, Boss Hay directly activated the switch on Feiji. It turned out that this was not a deadly weapon, but his own scattered light bullet. In this way, Feiji's single-gun Pima got the limit of activating the giant time from the boss. At the return district, he immediately opened the notebook, but he didn't expect that there was only an ancient text inside. This was the result, and obviously Feiji couldn't accept it, so he directly took the spray gun and opened the door that sealed Jushi. He was willing to sacrifice himself to find his girlfriend, but he didn't expect Jushi to have no reaction at all. No matter what he did, he couldn't make him become. He could only dream helplessly. The agents who heard the noise also ran away. Seeing that Feiji might be swallowed at any time, several people hurriedly took her out. But at the moment they closed the door, the mysterious boulder in front of them was once again. His luck was really good. If he had been 1 second later, he might have been swallowed. Just as Kelson criticized him for his recklessness, Feiji found the sand left by the boulder in his hand, which instantly gave him hope, so he immediately ran into the laboratory for testing. Fortunately, God does not disappoint those who work hard. After testing, Feiji found that the ingredients inside did not belong to the Earth at all, which means that it was sand from other planets. From this, it can be inferred that his girlfriend Simon was likely to be transported to another world by this mysterious stone, but how to activate the stability of the giant time was a problem. Simon's life and death was also unknown, but Feiji's girlfriend was not dead at this time. In order to get food and water, he had been drifting in this world for several days. He finally climbed a hillside, but found that a terrible storm was heading towards him. This was undoubtedly adding insult to injury. The sudden storm almost killed him. At this time, he had no strength left. Just when he thought he was going to die here, Simon saw a puddle not far away, so he immediately ran over with his remaining strength. It was true that there must be a way out when the car reaches the mountain. Simon didn't care whether the water was poisonous or not, and he just blew it in big gulps. It was not enough to satisfy him. He jumped. In the end, she was splashing around in the water, but what she didn't know was that danger had quietly approached. Suddenly, a mysterious force pulled her down from beneath the water, revealing that there were other life forms present, gripping her tightly like an octopus. Simon's car was injured, but luckily his physical condition allowed him to climb ashore. He quickly picked up a stone and broke the monster's ribs. And this became Simon's meal. Although it looked a bit disgusting, it was better than starving to death. After eating and drinking his fill, Simon set off towards the exit back to Earth. However, as he passed through an ancient mountain, he encountered a carefully laid trap.